Hey everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Snapchat. I'm joined today by none other than the Super Tech God, Ken. Ken, how are you, my man? It is great to have you here today, filling in for Cozy Snapper. For those of you guys that are like, that's not Cozy. Where's Cozy at? Well, Cozy has had a hell of a week, man. He was obviously at Comic-Con. He was sick prior. We're actually going to incorporate Comic-Con into the next Snapchat, and then that all fell through. Schedules were absolutely insane, and now he's on his way to China. He's literally flying out to China, and so as a result, Super Tech God has come to save the day. One of my favorite people in the Snap scene, by the way. Ken, me and you are like legitimate OGs. Do you remember back in the day, you and I, we were streaming for like 10 people, rating each other.
Oh
like those were the good old days of Snap. Like that was beta, way in beta.
Yeah, super fun times, man. Beta times is the greatest as always. Like you said, we had a few people in the community, but it was always a good time. Love the cards, love the energy. Snap Future was so bright back then, and now we're here. So enjoy it, and especially thank you for bringing me on. And yes, for those who are listening and not watching, Cozy just got a tan, guys. Don't worry, got a tan.
And for those that might not know the STG lore, this man keeps the lights on at Second Dinner. This man has every single variant in the game. Like when you talk about whales, STG is not a whale. You are like a kraken in the waters of like I gotta ask you, man, like what inspires you to like have to collect every single variant? And while I'm asking you that, who's your favorite artist?
So my favorite artist was Kim Jacinto for a long time. Now Creative House Pocket has taken that slot. Love the art from Creative House Pocket. I mean, the art's so beautiful. But what got me into it, man, is just basically I love the art, love comic books, love style and Snap, and especially all the cards. And after the wonderful Nexus event and being able to get those resources back after that whole mishap and being able to collect all those variants in the collection track, I was like, you know what? I want to continue this. I want to continue and get every variant and be able to showcase those cards and those artists when playing the game. So that's why I had to do it.
You know what, man? And that's phenomenal. And I got to tell you, there's a reason why the Infinite is on the screen right now. And I know that you are a legitimate Infinite truther. How much would you love for the Infinite to make a comeback in Marvel Snap?
I would love it, man. I've been preaching this all the time. Infinite needs a buff. And we get at least an additional power on him, I'll be happy. 21, that's all I'm asking for. But yeah, big time Infinite fans. For all those who don't know, Infinite is one of the best cards in Marvel Snap, I feel, to this day. And yeah, it'll be great to get him a buff, especially with all this power creep happening in the game currently.
I mean, it's funny. I'm someone who plays a lot of Evo, and like I would be playing Evo, and I have like a Hulk that's like 18 power on turn 6, and I'm like, why even have the Infinite when you can get a Hulk up to 18 power or something like that, right? And so, yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say 1 power. He needs to be like a 22 or a 24. Give him something, right? Like, we got a card that needs some love, so let's give him some love. But STG, we got so much to talk about today. We're talking about the Invisible Woman First Steps, the card that's coming out tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Thing First Steps, which came out last week. And we hadn't had an opportunity to discuss the Human Torch on this podcast either. And so we're going to be talking about a number of different cards. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about the limited time game modes. We're going to be giving our impressions of not only the Grand Arena, but more importantly, whether or not the rewards have been good enough. So I'm excited to get into that with STG. And then, as always, our Snapchat mailbag. So STG, I'm going to send it off to you first, right? Cozy usually ships it off to me right off the rip. And it's like, Alex, what's your star rating on the Invisible Woman? I'm going to put you on the spot. The Invisible Woman is obviously a card that is super exciting. STG, what's your rating?
Well, I mean, of course, this card was the most anticipated. And of course, people who did not want to get Fantastic card was waiting for this card. So for me, this card, I think, is going to be epic, especially with the other end of turn cards that are coming out or came out this previous month. I definitely think this card is going to be up there. I have to give it at least a 4 rating. The fact that it has the ability to, of course, activate and then turn on the end of turn abilities and happen twice per game. I think, again, with Fantastic card, with Human Torch, with the Thing and everything else, Sunspot, etc., this is going to be a huge new and awesome card to bring into Marvel Snap. So definitely a 4 for me.
Buddy, that's hilarious because Cozy started at 3.5 in our first preview, and then he ended up at 4 at the end of the pod. So you and Cozy right alongside of each other. Now, I came out and I said I gave this a 5-star out of 5. I said this was going to be my card of the month. And you know what? Now that like we're almost done the month, which is crazy, man. Time flies when you're having fun in the Grand Arena. I actually wonder if this card could be better than something like the Human Torch. Like the Human Torch to me seems so good. Even the Thing has been really good. Mr. Fantastic has been everything's been good, man. These cards have been bangers, right? And so like in retrospect, I'm like, is my 5 the right call? And I'll tell you what made me think about that. And I'm still going to stick with it. I'm still on my 5. I'm not deviating from my original plan. Perfect. But what I will tell you is that it kind of gave me pause when they buffed the Doom 2099, because Doom 2099 was a very straightforward and obvious synergy with the Invisible Woman First Steps. And when I saw an OTA buff that card, I was like, well, that's kind of risky, like, wouldn't you think? And clearly Glenn and the balance team would have planned for the fact that that card's going to be used in tandem, and it made me wonder if it's actually weaker than was expected. And they were comfortable buffing Doom 2099 in advance of the Invisible Woman launch because it wasn't as good in their internal testing as perhaps we might have thought.
That could be the case. I mean, I think Doom 2099, I also think they did it because they wanted to bring it back into the meta, because after they nerfed it to everything, it was just like, hey, you know, nobody wants to play that card. But now the fact that we have these cards that can buff end of turn, it just made sense to start buffing those cards like Doom 2099. I think this is just going to make it even stronger and even better. So maybe that's the reason why they did it. But I also think because, again, they want to bring that back into the meta.
And like, I really do think Doom 2099 is going to be one of the key places where you're going to see Invisible Woman played. Obviously, the effect is massive. It creates its own zoo effect. But one of the things I felt was strange was that Doom 2099 was often most powerful coming out on turn 3. So the Invisible Woman wants to come out on turn 4, maybe turn 5. Like, you still want to get that Doom 2099 out on turn 3, and then you want to follow up with that Invisible Woman, because naturally you can just play that one card and keep getting those bots going, right? But obviously it doesn't just stop at Doom 2099, right? I had this thought about, well, Evo. Like, we both are Evo lovers naturally with the Infinite. You know, Infinite love here going strong between the two of us.
Of course.
But you got like you got Sunspot, obviously you got Cyclops, you got Misty Knight. You got lots of opportunities to take advantage of these end of turn effects. And so I wonder if that'll be a good spot for it, especially since the Fantastic Car version of those builds have proven to be very effective.
Sure. Yep. Correct. I agree. 100%. That's exactly where I think should be best at, is going to be in those Evo lists with the end of turn cards. We also have to consider, you know, one of your favorite cards, which is Surfer, right? These are 3 costs, so might as well put her in a Surfer deck. And I think her alongside Human Torch and Surfer in that package might also be another huge step for this card. So yeah, no, I think the strongest definitely is the high Evo.
Yeah, so there's a surprising amount of versatility here. Like, there's so many end of turn cards that have proven to be very good, and even in the Evo shells, like things like Adam Warlock, which obviously doesn't necessarily, not really at all, work with. I shouldn't say that actually, because you could, if you're winning that location and you're confident you're going to win it, you could double draw with Adam Warlock, right? Would you not? Yeah, you would double draw, right? Which is actually kind of crazy. That might be the only card that would do that. I just realized that. That's not in my notes. I was just thinking about how Adam Warlock is now suddenly playable in Evo shells because of Fantastic Car, but this would allow you to double draw.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Interesting. We also have an issue now where like Fantastic Car works with She-Hulk. I know it's not supposed to, but because it still does, will this also work with She-Hulk? Will this allow She-Hulk to get a double discount? I know it shouldn't, but that's the question.
So I believe that at the patch, you'll see She-Hulk lose the Fantastic interaction. Clearly, it's coded as an end of turn, you know, costs 1 less per power floated or energy floated, whatever. Right? I said that so poorly, but you know what I mean, right? Clearly, it's coded like an end of turn card, but its text does not say end of turn. And so I think that's what we're seeing. And I bet you a patch will revert that, especially considering there's enough controversy around Fantastic Car. And the Evo decks are doing so good as they are, they don't need the She-Hulk version. In fact, the versions I've been playing myself, I cut She-Hulk because I'm playing Fantastic Car on turn 5. You know what I mean? Like with Merlin falling back, you can almost play more Magic. Because Merlin was destroying Magic, but now Merlin's not taking up as many decks because Mr. Fantastic is occupying that lane and Surge is occupying that lane. So Magic's back, but I still don't think you need the Magic turn 7. I think you can win the game on turn 6 with these Evo decks.
I totally agree with that. That's a great point. Yes, I've been saying that a lot in the streams. You do not win in 7 because it might hurt you. Definitely aim for 6. And in that Evo Fantastic Car package, you're definitely winning at 6. There's no need for the 7. But I am happy that Merlin is taking a step back. He was causing some problems, but he was definitely rampant in the meta.
It's funny you say that. Now I know this is somewhat off topic, but I almost think, and oh man, I don't know. This might be a hot take. I wonder, like, how close Merlin and Mr. Fantastic first steps are. I think Merlin is probably better than people give it credit for. I think that the reason why you're seeing less Merlin right now, more Mr. Fantastic first steps, is that first of all, it's the new shiny thing people want to play with. But I also think that it's like so risk-free to play. Like, it's so like, oh, I put it down on 2 and it just like gives me high 5s in my deck and I just don't have to do anything about it. Whereas with Merlin, you're like playing a Sentry that's going to put a -9 on the board and you got to deal with that. And like Merlin, I think has a higher high sometimes where it's like, you got to work for it more. And Mr. Fantastic, you don't have to as much. So I think Merlin might be better than we're kind of giving it credit for right now. Because I think Mr. Fantastic is like the new shiny thing, but I think Merlin's still amazing.
I don't know. I got to disagree. I think Mr. Fantastic is here to stay, and he's going to take that 2 spot. I don't see Merlin coming back unless they put out a card that deals with spells or arcana or whatever you want to call it. But I think for sure, Mr. Fantastic is here to stay. He is probably the best 2-cost drop now in Snap.
Listen, he's damn good. I just think Merlin's damn good too. We're talking about 2 like golden bars here. we're comparing 2 absolute stars, right? I guess continuing on Invisible Woman as we continue to deviate in conversation. I just want to throw some cope out there. I don't know if this is a good idea, STG, so bring me down if I need to come down. But I was thinking about Thena and Havoc, right? Those are obviously really good turn and end of turn effects, but the types of decks that play those cards usually run Bass, they run Agent Venom, and do you really want to give up the additional power you have from someone like the Invisible Woman in order to activate that? Is it really worth it?
But I don't know. I like the Havoc play. I think the Havoc is fine because getting 8 power after you play that card and then activating with Invisible Woman, I think is huge. The Thena part, maybe not, but I agree. If Invisible Woman is the only card that can get the negative effect of Bass hitting it, then yes, you're fine. I think that's awesome. You build a deck around Bass and around those other cards and just have Invisible Woman and hope that you play Invisible Woman early enough that you can play Bass and not have to worry about not hitting those cards with those additional 3 power.
Okay. A reasonable approach. And okay, I have some more cope. All right. And again, if I'm completely out of my mind here, call me out. But I had this idea, and it might be the deck that I go to on launch day. What do you think about Strange Supreme? Because that will allow Strange Supreme to just double suck on a turn. He'll pull 1 card, he'll pull a 2nd card. And like the problem is that like Strange Supreme he's so vertical as it is, I don't think he needs the extra power. Nope. But I had that thought of like, could you actually double suck with Strange Supreme? Would that be worth it?
I don't think it is, to be honest. I think the way he is right now, he is powerful alone in that 1 lane. So I don't think he needs the extra. I don't think he needs the extra suck in that turn with the activate from Invisible Woman. I think he's totally fine the way he is.
That's kind of what I suspected, but I just wanted to throw it out there because it wasn't an end of turn effect. Another one I was thinking about was like is Thaddeus Ross, and then you have like obviously Red Hulk. But those are like first of all, why are you playing Thaddeus Ross? And secondly, Red Hulk, it's like, well, that's kind of win more. Like he's probably cleaning that lane up anyways. I really do agree with you with the sentiment that like it's gonna be in those Evo shells and it's gonna do remarkably well there. The only concern I have, and this is the last thing we'll say about Invisible Woman when we move on, is it end of turn Wong though? Like, do you know how like you see on reveal cards? Imagine Wong was a Series 5 card today, right? First of all, if it was a Series 5 card, it'd be like it'd release at like a 4/6. Let's be honest. But like, if it's a Series 5 card, it's like, is it just like Wong? Is it just too damn greedy? You know what I mean? Is Invisible Woman the Wong of this archetype where it's too greedy and you probably just end up cutting it anyways?
I believe in whatever package you put it in, it might be too. Because you're right. If you think about it, especially in an Evo shell or anywhere else, getting that additional power, do you really need it? Because I think the power you already put out is strong enough to help you win that match. So it might be a little greedy. You're absolutely right. And I think that's why your Bass, Thena, Havoc, those type of decks might love this more. Even the Surfer decks might love this more because, again, putting it in the Evo shell will be the best, but you're already putting out so much power. Do you need it there? That's a good point. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
All right, and that's enough talk about the Invisible Woman. The next topic of conversation is going to be the Thing First Steps. Now, this card released this past week. We'll also be discussing the Human Torch as well. So, STG, I got to ask you, what was your thoughts on the Thing First Steps? Now, Cozy and I both came in at 3.5 stars. We did think the card was going to be good. We just thought it was going to be perhaps one of the weaker of the bunch. I found it to be better than expected, but I'm curious about your thoughts as a whole.
Yeah, me too. Going into it, I thought it was going to be a 3, right? 2.5 to 3. That's what I felt about this card. And playing it, it definitely exceeded my expectations. The fact that it gets that additional power every turn, and then the +2 power, and then if the lane is full, it destroys your opponent's card that's weaker than it. It's just so good, especially on that last turn. Your opponent thinks they're winning. It's an ongoing deck. You go ahead and destroy their onslaught. It's such a great feeling. It shuts down all the blue Marvel, madness is happening. The Thing really stepped this game up, and I have to give it at least a 3.5. I do agree that's exactly what it should be. I think if it was less in cost, just a 4 cost, it would definitely shoot up to a 4.5. But the fact that it's a 5 cost and you have to kind of figure out when you're going to play it, especially you play it on turn 5 or on turn 6, that's the reason why I think 3.5 is a perfect score for it.
I agree with you, but at the same time, like, how many amazing 4 drops do we need in this game? Like, we actually need some banger 5s, man. How dare you ask them to bring another 4 drop that's broken into the game? But like, it's exactly it though, right? And like, the card, if it was 4, it would be crazy. But like, I compare it to Spider-Man 2099 in a non-insulting way, where it's like, okay. Look at what you have to do to get Spider-Man 2099 to destroy a random. You got to move it, right? It doesn't sound that hard. You got Madam Web, you got all these things, and they're similarly powered to some degree. And Spider-Man 29 sees no play because of the randomness of the effect. This card is similar, and it still has a random kind of destroy factor. The only challenge is Spider-Man 2099 can destroy any powered card. And I found that the Thing, I often was like, damn, I actually kind of wish I could destroy something stronger than it. And that is a very important balancing factor, because if you could just punch out Red Hulks and whatever, then that would probably be an overpowered card. Let's be honest, right? Correct. So I do think it's a very important thing. But it also adds a lot of nuance to the card. Why don't I put it on the screen here? I got to put it up on the screen. It adds a lot of nuance to the card, because realistically, it does a great job of like making it so that you really have to consider how you position it, where you position it early. So like, for instance, if I'm playing against a Surfer player and I've seen that they've put like Captain Carter in a location, I might actually try to quickly fill the location to destroy the Captain Carter right off the rip with the Thing First Steps. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden if they play Brood and then I don't trade, like, it's frustrating, but I think it's balanced. I think that this is probably one of the more balanced of the cards they've released this season thus far, because it feels fair, and I feel like it's also occupying a very important spot in Marvel Snap, where we need something good at the 5 slot, and we finally have something good at the 5 slot that can go into any number of different shells.
Correct. Agreed. You're 100% accurate on that. It is one of the most balanced cards they put out this season. And again, like I said, I was just hoping if it was less, it would have been so much better. But I agree with you. The thought process of where you put him and where you play him has to be thought out as you're going through your turns, because again, you want to make sure you can fill out that lane when you play with him, right? Whether he's the last card in that lane, or if you're playing early on 5, at least on 6, you know exactly where you're going to put your other card to kind of turn off or destroy one of your opponent's side cards. And in most cases, like you said, if it's Captain Carter or anything else that you know, hey, if I do this, this is perfect setup. I think it's great for it. And the Thing, like I said, big surprise. I definitely enjoy everything about this card. So I totally agree. Super balanced card.
Yeah, and from a win rate perspective, across like some of the decks we're seeing post-Infinite, some are running near 56% win rates, and that's like a Zoo variant, which is awesome, man. This card is being played in Zoo, and it's doing a great job there, running about 56% win rate. And then in the Evo-based shells with Fantastic Card, you're looking at about a 55.4% win rate, according to Untapped. And then you have this like Doctor Doom Red Hulk variation with the Human Torch and Mr. Fantastic running a 54.8. So you're seeing like these 55% win rate decks already in its first week. And I think that's pretty solid. But what I've also noticed is that outside of Zoo, these were archetypes that are already performing very well. And in the case of the the Evo version, this version of Evo running the thing actually performs worse than some of the other ones without the thing. But this is currently one of the top versions of Zoo, because you get to play this on turn 5, and on turn 6 you still have Gilgamesh, but then it steps on the toes of Blue Marvel a little bit of my testing. So I still think there's some ironing out that you can do with that particular shell. But overall, I did come away relatively impressed with the thing. And I know there's so many memes about saying, like, here's the thing about the thing. But I'm actually curious about what your thoughts are in closing on the thing here.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a great card, and we're going to talk about this mode later on, but I've been utilizing the thing as my champion in Grand Arena. I'm having the most fun with him there. That extra energy helps. Him and his special spell works great with him. But outside of that, the thing is a phenomenal card. I definitely look at and keep it at a 3.5. I'm pumped. You're right. We finally have another good 5-cost card in Snap, and yeah, the thing deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. And another card that honestly, well, I was going to say came out very hot is Human Torch First Steps. It thought about coming out very hot. I'm making fun of, like, you know, here's the thing about the thing, and I come out making fire jokes about the Human Torch, who is an absolutely fire card. This card absolutely blew me away. I thought the Human Torch was absolutely remarkable, and I would be interested in your thoughts as well. Now, I came in at 4.5. This was almost my card of the month. Yeah. This was almost my card of the month. I leaned off it a little bit because I thought that maybe the Invisible Woman was going to be stronger with Doom 2099, and now I'm starting to doubt that a little bit. But by golly, the amount of power Human Torch has been putting out. And listen, I'm a Surfer guy. I'll play Surfer until I black out every single night. That's not even a concern to me. The fact that this thing gets juiced by Surfer and then end of turn doubles is, oh my gosh, the amount of power this thing is putting up is ridiculous, Ken. My man, what are your thoughts on the Human Torch Fantastic Four First Steps?
100% of 4.5. Going into it, I said the same thing. 4.5. The fact that this card gets +1 power after every turn, and being able to double its power once that lane is full. And again, in the Surfer deck, like you mentioned, Surfer hits it, buffs it, and then it doubles. This card is phenomenal, and that's exactly what we've been doing with it, playing it alongside the Brood and many other cards with it. Super fun card. But yeah, definitely high up there. It definitely, I think, might be the card of the month. We just got to see what Invisible Woman actually does, but I think this might be it for sure.
I actually wonder about that too. Like, even though in our rankings I had ranked Invisible Woman higher than Human Torch First Steps, I'm like, can Invisible Woman actually surpass this? I've heard some people suggest that maybe this card is a little too spicy. A little too spicy. It is niche, though. It is niche. And even in the Grand Arena, I don't find this deck is good, but I don't find it as intuitive as like the Herbie deck, for instance, and some other things that are happening. But for Surfer specifically, this card is crazy. And current buff Surfer stats are running nearly a 58% win rate, astonishing cube rates. And those decks, they run like the Zabu with the Shang-Chi, Galacta, Gwenpool. You've got Fastos in there. And like everything just benefits this Human Torch, even if you play him late. Like, even if you play him late on turn 5 or whatever, because he's getting juiced by Gwenpool or Galacta, he's coming out massive, right? And then he doubles and he gets his power every single turn. I don't know, man. This card has been absolutely remarkable to me. And as a Surfer enjoyer, for me, it felt like an absolute auto-include to my collection. But I still wondered. It is very niche because in other shells, he's not seeing nearly as much play. He did see some experimentation, according to Untapped, in like a Fantastic Car-based list, and it didn't necessarily perform great there. Again, there are better versions of the Evo Fantastic Car shell that do not run the Human Torch versus the one that do run the Human Torch, because I think that the filling of the locations could be somewhat more challenging in an Evo-based shell. But overall, man, I think this card's been absolutely crazy. And I'm curious to see how it'll compare to some of the others long term. Because here's the thing, though. Some cards in Marvel Snap, almost all cards in Marvel, they really just need one deck. They need one deck that really kind of sets it apart and allows it to be meta relevant. And I wonder if this being primarily in Surfer is enough for it to be worth picking up.
I think so. I think because the other decks that you could build around it will have to be something that can fill up the lanes, whether you do it late in the game or not. But I think because it's a 3 cost and because of, again, it works so great with Surfer and now it's going to work great with Invisible Woman, right? Because she's also 3 costs, and doubling his ability again, it's going to be tough to put him in a different niche and say, okay, it's a great card. But I'm sure there will be some type of list where he will shine as long as you find a way to be able to buff him as well as fill up that lane.
And that's going to take us to our next topic of conversation, which is the rewards available in modes like the Grand Arena. You also had the high voltage, a couple of weeks back. Maybe it was just the last week, actually, which was essentially that like miniature version of high voltage with the shorter rewards with the borders and stuff like that.
Yeah, with the weekend.
Yeah, we need to talk about, first of all, Grand Arena and generally what our thoughts are. STG, I'm going to give you the floor. What are your general thoughts on Grand Arena, its rewards, the decks, everything as a whole? What do you think?
I think it's perfect. I think this mode should have been out a long time ago. I love everything about it. The gameplay is fun. There's no snap mechanic, of course, but you do get that extra energy per turn. I do love the fact of picking a champion. That champion also has a special ability. I think that's all a cool way and new style and strategic play of Marvel Snap, so I definitely enjoy it. The rewards are very good as well, too. Very fair, very good in the cost and the benefit of you putting in that time and grinding and getting those rewards between getting 2 new cards, some emotes, borders, and of course, my favorite, the variants. I think this mode is a 5, perfect score, and I wish it would be here longer so we could spend more time with it. I also wish, they decide to bring something else like this to the game and bring more freshness to it, and I really enjoy it. Phenomenal mode.
I gotta tell you, man, one thing I love about you, Ken, is you're always so positive. Like every time I've had a chance to chill with you, you're always so positive. And like, I first of all, I love the mode. I think this is by far the best mode that they've created outside of the core Marvel Snap experience. I think that starting with 2 energy is insane. Like that in and of itself completely changes the way the game plays. I think that the commander-based system or the champion-based system, whatever you want to call it, I think it's awesome. I really do think that they cooked here and they did a great job. Like, I really love everything that they did here with all the different champions. And I hope that they bring this back. Wouldn't it be great? Now, I know there's people that love Conquest, but I'm just going to throw this out there. Wouldn't it be great if every single season, at the start of the season, you had the regular ranked season, the season pass card, whatever, all that stuff, right? And you also had the Grand Arena new season start. And with the Grand Arena, every season, it's like 10 new heroes. Right? So now next season, it's like Iron Man and Iron Man skill, Ant-Man and Ant-Man skill, and there's different champions. And then next season, it's 10 new ones. And maybe they can theme them. Here's Null and his associates. Here's all the villains. Here's Galactus's, heralds. And like, wouldn't that be so amazing, right? And I think that it gives a scope where a small team can do it. And also, like, I think it would just be really exciting because I love the mode. I will tell you is that, like, in the unpaid track, I feel like it's still a little slow. I still feel it's slow. I think that they can be giving you a little more XP per win. I think you can be getting a little more XP per loss. I think it could be fast-tracked a little bit. And one of the concerns that I have is that what's the purpose of the mode? Like, what is the goal of the new mode? Is it to re-engage players, right, and keep players engaged in Marvel Snap? Or is it to make that sweet moolah? Because listen, what I think Marvel Snap needs to do right now is they need to be focused on getting players into this game. They need to be focused on keeping players in this game. And when they get here, they need to unlock cards and have fun with the rewards. Do you remember the first Deadpool's Diner? When like getting Cassandra Nova required some grinding, but it was achievable. It was achievable from free-to-play players all the way across the board, and you didn't have to like crazy grind for it. You kind of just had to play. That, I think, was peak. That's exactly what you wanted. And in this mode, like, even for me, I could already unlock Mole Man or Mad Thinker. I think I'm gonna unlock Mole Man right now. Actually, I'm literally gonna do it live on the pod right now. I'm getting Mole Man just because I think Mole Man's kind of interesting. But like, with that being said, I don't know if I'll make it. Like, even as someone who makes content of the game, I don't know if I'm going to unlock Mad Tinker. I probably will. But, like, it would take a significant amount of grinding, and that's something I don't want to necessarily do. I want to play Marvel Snap because I love Marvel Snap. I want to play it when I want to play it. I don't want to feel obligated to play it. And this new mode is so good, STG, but at the same time, I feel like, although, listen, obviously it's way better than Kid Omega, like that is clear, but I think they could have made it ever so slightly more generous to make the fixation not about unlocking like the cards, but more about like, oh man, look at this, Snap just absolutely knocked it out of the park, and I'm getting all this stuff. Oh, it feels great to be a Marvel Snap player. I'm going to continue to be a Marvel Snap player. You know what I mean, man?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I agree. I think they give us a 10 Whatever.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right. It
10.
should be way more generous. That I could agree with you 100%. But I love your idea of different champions and different things month to month. I think that would be so good for the game. And yes, I agree 100% what you're saying. You have to bring people in the game, keep them in the game, and have people who are playing it enjoy on collecting and getting and unlocking new cards. And once they figure out that balance, I think we're in a good place. But back to this mode, I agree. I don't want to feel like I'm grinding, and you're right. I'm not gonna get Mad Thinker. My goal was to get Mole Man, and I got the variants. I do want to get that emote for Pedro Pascal. I do want to get that emote. I'm not too sure about that one, but I want to get that one. Will I
It's
get it?
3K.
No
That's
idea.
so
I know that.
expensive.
That's what I'm saying. I might not, but for sure, I totally agree. The grinding is something we didn't really want for it, but yeah, Mole Man and the variants, that's my goal. So that's what I'm going to aim for. But I do enjoy the mode so much. I do hope we have some changes in cards that get banned real soon. But other than that, I think the mode is perfect. And yeah, back to your idea. We can get this every month. It will be one of the best things ever.
And I want to be clear, like, as all things, like when Conquest first came out, we were excited about that. It's the new shiny thing. We played it. And then all of a sudden, like me, you won't find me in Conquest, man. The only time I'll play Conquest is I used to do it just to unlock the premium mystery variant. And then I would do it just to unlock the actual core variant that it would display if it was something I wanted, right? And then I'm like, I can't even, you can't even drag me into a Conquest right now. I don't even open my caches because I just don't want the tickets. You know what I mean? And if this Grand Arena, which I honestly think is by far the best thing they've done in a while, to the point that, like, for the last couple of weeks, no one's mentioned the draft mode to me. Nobody has mentioned draft mode to me over the last week. Everyone's talking about the Grand Arena. They really did cook here, man. And I just think that this could be something they stick around with. But I really do think this is a great, first of all, the rewards is so much better than it was prior. But really, I think that we're still a little too stingy with the rewards. I think that we could be getting more per game. Like, I'm not going to get the fight. These borders are beautiful. I think these are fantastic. And there's going to be people who choose the borders over the new card, for instance. And that's fine. You can absolutely do that. And I love the element of choice. But I really do wish it was more of a celebration of Snap and being able to, like, actually get the 2 new cards and get a couple borders and, like, walk away being like, damn, I played Snap. I got rewarded for playing Snap. But these guys cooked, right? It's just a little too far from that. Where it's like, I feel like at the end of the day, like, the monetization team saying is like, we still want the gotcha moment. We still want the, oh, you got the first card, but guess what? For 900 more gold, you can get that second card. What do you think, bud? You know what I mean? I still think they went after that gotcha moment. And I mean, let's be honest, man. If I was on a monetization team, this game would have gone out of business. So I get it. But at the same time, it's like, I want Marvel Snap to be successful. And I want people back in the game. And this is exciting. I'm glad they did it. But the rewards, I think they really need to consider how they shape these rewards. And I would like for them to emphasize more of the player engagement side. And for what it's worth, I think that this particular mode is very close to it. But overall, man, yeah. What are your thoughts on the event pass, by the way? I did buy the premium one. I'd be curious to your thoughts on the event pass.
I think it's fair. I did purchase it as well. I think if you want to, get additional rewards and also get that last thing avatar, right? Or thing, what's at the top of it? The thing emote. I think it's worth the pass.
Bro, I didn't know that was there.
And I do like the fact that if you are free to play, that's the only thing you're missing. You still get everything else. So it's just an emote, which I think is very fair to both free to play players and those who want to spend money in the game. So for me, I think the pass is a great choice, especially if you don't want to grind as much and you want to get more rewards for your grinding. I think this is the way to go. And of course, again, for free to play players, you don't have to do it. The only thing you'd be missing out is that thing emote. So I think a lot of modes and a lot of passes should be just like this in all the modes that Snap decides to bring in. Thinking about both sides, both the free to play players and of course those who like to spend money in the game. So for me, I think it's a great job they did with the event pass.
And honestly, give credit where it's due. I'm so happy they made it gold instead of like, here's a $9.99 battle pass or whatever. I'm so happy that they allowed you to spend gold on it. Gold it's still a difficult commodity to come across. Let's be honest. Back in my old days there, they used to be able to get them from the collector's reserves and they took that out. And you know what I mean? I get it. Gold is still hard to come by. but it's still possible to come by, and therefore you're able to use it on things like this, which I think is helpful, right? And if it would have just been a dollar sign there, I think that would have been somewhat discouraging. But anyways, actually, I want to run one more thing by you for the Grand Arena, and that is, what are your thoughts on the idea? And I did float this in my review of it. What are your thoughts on the idea of, first of all, I think these pre-builts are fantastic. This is beautiful. I think they should be doing this all the time. This is so good for all players of all collection levels. But like, my thought was, wouldn't it be interesting if matchmaking was restricted to pre-built versus pre-built and custom versus custom? Because it only took a day or two before everyone's has Enchantress, Shang-Chi, and Alioth in their decks. When, like, man, just the pre-built first day was like so fun. And then of course you try to play, Mr. Fantastic, and like an Enchantress Grandmaster comes down. You're like, thanks, bro. Sick, right? So like, I'm curious about your thoughts, whether the pre-builts should have been, maybe pooled together in a pre-built matchmaking system.
Yeah, I agree. I think they need to have two separate queues, right? The pre-builts go against the pre-builts and the custom goes against the custom. I mean, that's the only way they can do it. But if they do that, will that become a problem? Will people say, oh, they are doing deck balancing or deck, matchmaking, right? Because that's basically what we're asking for here. We're asking for custom to go against custom and pre-built to go against pre-built. And I think that would have been the better route, because I agree. The people of the lower collection levels or the free-to-play players that don't have all the cards are using their pre-built decks and going up against those who have a better collection, and those that do have the Super Scrolls and the Enchantresses, etc. And is taken away from the fun. So I totally agree. I wish they had two different matchmaking for both pre-built and custom.
And I guess one thing I just want to mention here is we've had two very different philosophies on event rewards. We have this one here, which is like that shop type system. When we said is much, first of all, way better than the Omega Red stuff that was happening. Not Omega Red, you know what I meant, Kid Omega. But also, I want to just bring quick mention to the limited time game mode of High Voltage, which was that weekend one, where it was just borders. No cards present. What did you think about that? Like, were you okay with the idea of like kind of like a less stressful but like less reward centric path for someone who wanted to engage in a limited time mode over the weekend?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think for a weekend, having those type of modes that only last for a weekend and is less stressful, because when you do back to back like they did before, having the High Voltage Overdrive and then having Sanctum, you had to worry about grinding for two things to try to get the rewards. So the fact that you have a mode that's just a weekend, and hey, you can get some cosmetics, not crazy cosmetics, like special variants, but premium mystery variants or borders, I think that's awesome. I do like that because it brings a different flavor to the game. On the weekend, you don't have to worry about, oh, should I go ahead and just play for my weekend missions? Oh no, I can play High Voltage and have some fun and have a blast in that mode and not worry about, oh my gosh, I need to hurry up and grind before the weekend's over. So I'm huge on that. I'm a big fan of it. I said we have to give them props for that. And I do wish they do more of that, right? Because they get to a point, especially in the middle of Snap season, where it's like, okay, things start to get boring because now you have one more card left. We're about to end the season. So to bring that kind of flavor and switch it up a little bit, I think is great for everyone, whether you already are infinite or you're still trying to get there. I think bringing that extra mode on a weekend is fun.
All right, STG, now we're going into our Snapchat mailbag here, and we have a very good question, and I would say overall a statement from Alpha PT9370, and it's about the Super Premium Season Pass, which has been obviously a major topic of conversation in the Snap community. The statement reads, bottom line is that I'm okay with giving them 120 euros a year to keep playing their game. I'm not okay with giving them 240 euros a year. That's not a good business proposition for me, and I'll never do it, ever. And if they continue to do things like this, they're changing the temporary game modes to be grindfest / second job / discount to purchase cards, I might stop being okay with giving them 120 euros a year completely. If anyone else wants to spend $10,000 a month to play the game, that's totally fine, but that's not me. You do you, I'll do me. And me personally, it's getting sick and tired of seeing them knowingly and not caring about consumer backlash do shady decisions like this every month. I bring up this question from Alpha PT because this was one of the top upvoted comments on one of the recent Snapchats. And I think that a lot of people did vibe with the idea that the season pass at $120 a year was not inexpensive, but you did get a lot of value. But at $240 a year, especially for something as meta impactful as the Fantastic Car, that's a lot of money on a mobile game. However, and I don't usually chain questions together, but Beard Almighty came up with a great idea, which I absolutely loved. And Beard Almighty said this: the solution is so simple. If they wanted a season pass and a premium season pass, then they should have added a second rewards track with the card at the level of the usual season pass card, at the same value proposition of the first. Early access to a card for each would still annoy some, but the value would still be there, and many would buy it anyways. So I think the statement here is saying, well, if you're going to charge me $10 extra for an additional card, why aren't I getting the boosters and the gold and everything else that's alongside the original season pass? The value proposition isn't quite the same, even if realistically, paying $10 extra for a Marvel Snap card, a Series 4, whatever, it could change to a 5 in the future, technically is good value, but STG, and this is where I want to ask you a question. What are your thoughts on adding a little bit of more rewards to that super premium season pass? Or do you think that a meta relevant card is simply enough?
No, I like that. I like that idea from the bearded gentleman. Being able to add the additional track works out in everybody's favor, right? Because if you do spend the extra $10, you get that extra reward, the extra track. And if you don't, those people who only spent the $10 can still grind their way to get that additional card. So I do like that idea. I was on board on, listen, I understand. It really depends on how you feel, if you want to spend money or not. And that card, yes, it's a Series 4 card, but like I said, I'd be afraid if it was the other way around and Fantastic Car was the $10 first and then Mr. Fantastic was the 20, it'd be a big problem. So to avoid that, as that person mentioned, I think that's the best route to do it. And I agree. I do spend extra $10, so why don't I get an extra track on my bonus? I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it would make the value proposition of that second season pass definitely more interesting. It just becomes concerning when, like, a Fantastic Car has clearly been a good card, but what if, and you kind of brought it up, like, what if it was Mr. Fantastic on the super premium season pass? And that might happen, but even inadvertently. Like, there's a chance that, the balance team says, all right, Mr. Fantastic, that card is going to be better than Fantastic Car, so we'll put that as the primary season pass, and the super premium one, we'll make the weaker card that the whales can buy, and that's fine. But what if someone figures out a cracked shell, and 2 months from now, it's the super premium season pass card, which is absolutely going insane. And honestly, like, Fantastic Car has been one of the top performing decks in the meta. Like, what are we talking? We might be even living that right now. Like, let's be honest, we might be living that right now. And so I think that having 2 cards paywalled for an entire month will frustrate people. And I'm glad that Fantastic Car is a Series 4. We have no guarantees that it'll remain that way. At the end of the day, if the concern is the value proposition of that extra $10, right? I do agree that, obviously an additional track would be fantastic, but I wonder if secondary would be like, that's just too much. Like, you already give so much in the original season pass. I wonder if they would kind of be hesitant to give even more in a super premium season pass that has a secondary track that would essentially double the rewards of the first. You know what I mean?
I mean, they should try it, test it out and see what happens. I think it will work out for everyone, to be honest. And I do understand it might look greedy, but not really, right? You're spending, the value really matters there because you are spending $10 to get one card and already a track. So you're spending another $10, you should also get a card and another track, right? I mean, you should already be getting that. So to me, I don't think it's greedy at all. I think it's logical and it makes sense. And I think maybe they should test it out and see what happens. But I think in the long run, it will work out for them better because people might say, you know what, I might as well just spend the $10, get the card and then get the extra bonus versus, hey, not spending the $10 and just dealing with the extra set of bonuses,
And I had this thought as well, and I'm not a monetization expert at all, STG, but I had this thought of like, okay, I'm okay with whaling a bit. Like, I'm okay with, putting money into the game and supporting it. That's fine. Like, obviously, I'm incentivized. We're both incentivized to help keep this game alive, let's be honest. And I wonder if they provide more opportunities to whale, if a trade-off is that the free-to-play experience gets better, but how do you quite do that? How do you make it so that people like you and I are encouraged to buy that super premium season pass, help keep those coffers stuffed, keep those lights on at Second Dinner's office, but at the same time, if their mindset is so fixated on, okay, Kid Omega, let's make as much money from Kid Omega as possible. Can we make it so that, okay, listen, make the season pass, super premium season pass worth it. That's where you can make your additional extra money. Make the game mode cards easier to acquire. You know what I mean? If you need to make money from some secondary source, and actually, now that I think about it, they're clearly doing that. They're clearly testing the waters as to how they could try to make some additional revenue. The Super Premium Season Pass is one data point. Omega Red was another data point. Then you have the data point from the game modes and stuff like that. Clearly, they're trying to throw a lot of stuff out there to see what sticks and what doesn't work. I fully expect we won't see another Kid Omega again, and if we do, then this game is essentially Club Penguin. It's dead, right? So let's be honest. They got to be smart with how they do that. But I guess what I'm trying to get at, STG, and what your thoughts are on this is, how can we make it? How can we make it so that we have some fair whaling opportunities to help support the game? But by doing that, we can pull a little bit of pressure off the free-to-play experience and then allow the card acquisition to be improved by way of saying, okay, you will need to make money to keep the lights on. That's fine. We'll give you extra here because it's worth it, so you can ease up here where people are getting frustrated.
I think at some point they need to figure out what, especially because, okay, they were doing cosmetics, they were doing $100 bundles, and that wasn't a big problem, especially free-to-play players, because they didn't have to worry about getting those expensive bundles to be able to play the game. So I think they have to figure out a way to get back into that mode of, here's the whales that want to get X, Y, and Z, and they will spend money on this, but also give the free-to-play players a way to achieve a certain thing. So in a quick thought, why not have the ability of whales being able to purchase something and getting it faster, but still giving the free-to-play players a way to get it without having to spend any money? So you want people to grind and play the game, have the free-to-play players do it. Do not block them or put something behind a paywall where they can't reach it unless they spend money, but give them additional time that they have to take to actually get that thing, where the whales can just say, okay, I'm not worrying about that. I'm going to spend on my goal and get this card. I don't feel like grinding. I don't have the time. I want to get the card and play with it and do what I have to do. And then you give the free-to-play players, all right, well, listen, you guys are going to have to play longer, right? You're going to have to grind harder, get what you. I think if they could figure that out, they can figure that balance out without them losing money, and they please themselves, they please the free-to-play players and the whales, I think it's success. And that way is the best way they can handle it.
The golden ticket. Everyone's happy. Everyone wins. That's what we're really looking after. Yeah, and if they had that answer, I think they'd probably pursue it. Right? I think that part of the challenge is that might be the golden ticket to freedom that everyone's trying to figure out and hasn't quite yet figured out. And I hope they do. I hope they do. And I hope they're getting a lot of data and a lot of feedback. I would expect, as I said prior, to never see the Omega Red situation again. That play to discount stuff is borderline insulting, and I hope they never walk that path ever again, and I would expect them not to. Our next question here comes from Levitation, and this comes in conversation regarding Magneto, because I was confused, and I was surprised to learn that apparently Magneto was supposed to be the father of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and that seemed to come to a surprise to me. And Leviton had mentioned that, fun fact, Magneto was sadly retconned to not be the father of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver several years ago. Him being their father itself was a retcon, but a cool one. In fact, they were retconned to not be mutants at all. And I had to look it up because the word was used so much. Retcon is retroactive continuity, or retcon for short, is a literary device in fictional storytelling whereby facts and events of established narrative are adjusted, ignored, supplemented, or contradicted by supplementary published work that recontextualizes or breaks the continuity of the former. Somehow that definition makes it even more confusing. But I don't know what your lore knowledge of Magneto was, but apparently he was the father of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and now he's not. And even then, it was changed. I don't know, man. Is it my fault that I'm confused?
Not your fault, but to me, he is the father of Quicksilver, and he is the father of Scarlet Witch. So
really,
I mentioned that. Yeah, he is, and I mentioned it in my streams a long time ago that I wish Quicksilver had the ability that Ghost had. No, not the ability that Ghost had. The reverse. Because Quicksilver would work great with his father if you had priority, because then Magneto will always pull cards first before somebody can do something in that lane. And of course, Scarlet Witch is his daughter, so she has the ability to change a location if it became a problem. So yeah, I said some synergy there would have been great, father, brother, and sister. So to my knowledge, that hasn't changed. Magneto is Quicksilver's father and Scarlet Witch's father as well. So not Scarlet Witch. Yes, Scarlet Witch. Yes, Scarlet Witch's father. So when did that change? I have no idea. And as you can tell, Quicksilver and Magneto both have the same, silver hair. So yes, they are father and son.
I don't know, man. And I think about Scarlet Witch, right? And she must be the most disrespected card in Marvel Snap. Like, let's be honest, what an absolute trash heap card. Like, one of the most powerful heroes in Marvel lore is this.
Yes. Yes, I know. And it's funny enough, me and Steven spoke about this too. Like, what cards would be great? Like, they should have cards that now changes because of how great they really are. They should have some new abilities, right? Not just high Evo abilities, but like they should be revamped because, again, like Scarlet Witch, she should have a way better ability and be respected more in Marvel Snap. So I totally agree with that.
My man, you brought up one of my favorite people on the planet, Sino. And I gotta tell you, we gotta shut out the Snapcast, my man. The Snapcast is a great piece of content you guys can be engaging with. If you're interested in more Marvel Snap podcast content, STG, could you please tell us where we might find some additional podcasting content?
Definitely on the Super Tech God YouTube channel. And of course, if you listen to any type of podcast anywhere, Spotify, etc., look up the Marvel Snapcast podcast. You'll find myself, Sino, and It's Guest Gaming as the hosts. We have a blast every week. And of course, make sure you guys stay here and check out Snapchat with Alex and Cozy.
Buddy, you're the absolute best. You know what, guys? STG, legitimately one of the OGs of the Snap community. One of the first people to actually welcome me into the Snap community. I came in here as a Dota guy like a month after the beta originally launched, and this man welcomed me with open arms, early raids, all that stuff, man. I couldn't explain to you how much you mean to me, my man. So I'm so glad that we were able to get you on the Snapchat. Thanks so much for filling in for Cozy. It means the world to him as well. And guys, it would mean the world to me if you use the links in the description down below to check out Super Tech God's content, to check out the Snapcast podcast as well. And of course, to send some love to STG on Twitch as well, where, dude, I don't know how you do your schedule. Like, do you not sleep? I thought I didn't sleep. Your schedule, like I'm going to bed and you're starting your stream and we're in the same time zone, my man. I don't know what you're doing.
Because of course, we have family, we have work, we do our things that we need to do, and then we do our time. And our time, sadly, my time is in the nighttime. So I'm here.
I hear you, my man. But thank you so much for joining. I appreciate every one of you guys. Of course, the viewers, the listeners, and of course, STG. We'll see you on that next one.